Welcome to the 1204. I just watched a video by Sam Samworth. Sam Samworth is a ex-prison officer in the United Kingdom. I watch a lot of his videos. I am also a subscriber to his channel. I find his videos very interesting. Sam has a lot of knowledge about UK prisons. I watched a video. It was Sam Samworth and he was in a car. This is the thumbnail to the video. He was in a car with another bloke and they were talking about why they left the prison service. Sam made a comment about prison staff who can't speak English. This is not the first time I've heard something like this. There's also a woman. She's an older woman. She looks like, without me being disrespectful, she looks like a lesbian. So you have an old lesbian. I believe this woman was a former governor in a prison. It might be a prison down south. And she made a comment about, in fact, I don't actually disagree with the comment she made. I thought she was bang on, but it was the tone. She said, white British people don't want to work in prisons anymore in the United Kingdom. So now they are recruiting people from Nigeria and Zimbabwe. She's spot on with what she said. But it's how she said it. It's the tone. Just like I don't disagree with what Sam Samworth said. Sam Samworth said that these people who are working in these prisons now, some of them can't speak English. And obviously, if you are working in a job like that, or any job, but especially a job like that, you're going to have to be able to communicate with people effectively. Communication is key for a job like that. But just like the old lesbian looking woman, it was the tone of Sam Samworth. And that is a similar tone to people who I refer to as flag shaggers. You know those Tommy Robinson supporters who want to send everybody who is non-white on a boat. They want to send them back on a boat, whether they were born here or not. And that was the vibe I was getting from Sam Samworth and the old lesbian woman. It was a very, very similar tone. Let me say something. I think UK prison officers, I think they are doing a very, very important job. I think, in fact, I would say this. I think the job they are doing, I think their job is just as important as the police, or if not more important than the police. I will put the prison staff. I think their job is on the same level as doctors and nurses. And I know people are going to scoff at that, but I want you guys to listen to this. I remember during COVID-19, they were doing this thing where you had to, I think, was it 7 o'clock? You would open your door and you would clap. Let's all have a clap for the NHS at, 7 o'clock. And people opened their doors and there was a round of applause and you can hear it. It was beautiful. Let's give a 7 o'clock round of applause for the NHS during COVID-19 in 2020. Nobody clapped for the prison guards because the prison officer, they are underappreciated, undervalued. It is a thankless job. If a police officer walks into a McDonald's or walks into a cafe, some people might even give them something on the house. Do you know what? Take this because you guys are doing a good service. Ambulance, they get that level of respect. Oh, you guys are saving lives. Nurses get that level of respect. People don't realize how important, how badly we need prison officers. Let me tell you something right now. People will give respect to police. Now, I know they've come under a lot of scrutiny recently and a lot of criticism, but they still get the respect. So the police, they take out the nasty bits of work that we would not want walking around in a free society. The pedophiles, the murderers, etc., etc. Police officer will arrest them, put them in the police cell, take them to court. The judge then bangs with that wooden hammer thing, sends them to prison. Everyone praises the police officer. But what people fail to remember is these people, they might have been taken off the streets. You might not have to see them again or for a long period of time. But there has to be people that have to deal with them. These people may have been taken underground, metaphorically speaking. I'm talking about prisons. But they need to be monitored and they need to be managed. So the police are just doing the easy work. They're arresting them. They send them to court. They take them to court. And then they go to prison. And last time I checked, it's not robots in prison managing these people, it's human beings. And in the prison, they are not so if we go back a few months ago, they would not have been equipped to deal with the violence. Think about this right now. A lot of nasty characters get taken off the streets. And then they get put in one big house full of other nasty characters. The prison guards, they didn't have tasers. They did not have. I mean, now they're having tasers now. Well, some of them, but they just had, what do you call it, a little baton, cuffs, and that's that. Police officers now. Tasers, CS gas, stab vest. Look what happened in that prison with that terrorist. You know, the one whose brother blew up those kids in Manchester? This guy stabbed 5 officers. This guy threw hot oil on a prison officer, stabbed one of them badly, almost puncturing their lungs. No, sorry, almost killing them by puncturing his lung. That officer was very lucky to be alive. These people are really up against it. The prison staff are really, really up against it. That guy's name is something Abidi. Look at Abidi. Look at that situation there. That Abidi character, that terrorist bastard, that guy is in one of the most highest of security prisons in the world, apparently. That guy is not in a regular prison. The prison he is in, that is for people who will never ever come out. It's meant to be so strict. But because of whatever Sky Daddy this guy prays to, Allahu Akbar, he doesn't want anyone cooking his food. He has to go and cook his own food. Ask yourself this question. How did he get hold of that hot oil to throw over a prison officer? How did he get hold of that? Well, how did he get hold of the objects to make that sharp instrument to stab that officer, puncturing his lung? Now, the officers did not let him inside that kitchen to be cooking his own food because you know they're doing it from the kindness of their heart. The reason why he was let to do that is because these prisoners, not only they are violent, but they have rights in that place. They get on the phone to lawyers, they get on the phone to whoever, and then these fucking do-gooders will call up the prison and then put pressure on the prison guards. And the prison guards then allow them to have certain rights. Okay, this guy has to cook his own food. He can use all of these objects. Because let me tell you something about a prison. Prisons are reactionary. They're not proactive. Listen, you ain't got to be a genius to know that letting that bastard in the kitchen, you ain't got to be a genius to know that that was a bad idea and something bad was going to happen. But what they do in prison is they have to let something bad happen and then they could react to it rather than being proactive to it. Because a proactive solution would have been, listen, mate, you're a terrorist bastard. You ain't going anywhere near a kitchen. Now, we're not gonna feed you bacon sandwiches. We're not gonna feed you a sausage sandwich. We'll make sure it's halal, but we will cook your food. You are not going anywhere near a kitchen. I think that is very, very reasonable, especially for why he's there. But no, they have to let him in the kitchen. And somebody almost lost their life over it. That is what they're up against in prisons. The hostility, aggression, extreme levels of violence. And it's no wonder why, white British people don't want to work in these prisons anymore. You've got Sam Samworth with his mate, with some geezer in the car, talking about people can't speak English. These are two white men who speak perfect English. White British men. But guess what? They left the prison system. They left. They left the prison system because they know how dangerous it is. And if I'm being honest with you, it's not worth it. I would never encourage anyone to do it. So these guys left the system, but they're talking about people who can't speak English. Well, the reason why they're recruiting people who can't speak English, or the reason why they're recruiting people from Nigeria and Zimbabwe, is because this has now become a bums on seat exercise. Anyone can work in a prison. What do you need to be a prison officer in the United Kingdom? Let me tell you. As long as you can tie your shoelace, as long as you can count 1 to 10, and the most important bit, you don't have a criminal record, then you can get a job in a UK prison. They will accept anyone now. They will accept anyone, even if they can't speak English properly, even if they're from Nigeria or Zimbabwe, and then they get a visa in exchange after they've worked a certain amount of years there. They will accept anyone. And the reason why they will accept anyone is because people like Sam Samworth and his mate, the bloke in the car. People like Sam Samworth have left the job. People like Sam Samworth, an experienced prison guard, does not want to work there no more. People like Sam Samworth, they know deep down it's not worth it. They know it's not worth it. You are dealing with absolutely dangerous, psychotic bastards in that place. Think about this right now. Most people on their day-to-day lives will not meet violent characters like that. Imagine a world where they put all of these people in there who are in there for some of the most horrific crimes. Of course it's not going to be a pleasant atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. I can understand why Sam Samworth and his mate don't want to work in this prison system anymore. But unfortunately, somebody has to do the job. Prisons are not corner shops. You can't shut it down for the weekend. Those people are human beings in there, and very bad human beings, may I add, majority of them, and they need to be managed. They need to be monitored. They need to be dealt with. And I've seen this as well. A lot of white people, and it's mostly flag shaggers. I'm not saying Sam is, I'm not saying that lesbian looking woman is, but it's the tone of voice. And a lot of those people, they have a problem with people not speaking English who are working in jobs which are important. But the thing is, a lot of people don't see the prison officer job as a important job. So let's look at the UK care homes now. UK care homes, for the most part, the people in that place, they're going to be from Nigeria or the Philippines. White British people are not going to want to work in a care home. And you've got people that say, oh, Oh, look, my granny was looked after by this Nigerian who couldn't speak English. Why are they getting Nigerians to look after my granny? Why they getting black people? Why they getting Filipino? Why they getting these foreigners to look after my granddad? Well, because it's simple. White British people, why would they want to work in a care home? I'm not being funny. Let me tell you white people something. In fact, there might be do you know what? Let me not even go into the care home thing because that's just I'm going off topic there. But I'll make a separate video about that. So let me try and stick to the prisons. At the end of the day, Sam Samworth is sitting in a car talking about prison. I suspect he's trying to make money from his prison stories. There's nothing wrong with making money. But Sam Samworth left the prison system. And he's not the only white British man to leave the prison system. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't blame him for leaving. My issue is the fact he was mentioning people can't speak English there. And it's the way he said it. But Sam, somebody's got to do the job. Somebody has to do the job. And let's be honest here, Sam. These people may not have been speaking the Queen's English. But surely there will be some kind of English they're speaking. Now, you might not be able to have a conversation with them and talk about the football or talk about EastEnders. But you can definitely communicate with these people. And I get it, it's not good enough, but you have to take it. What's the alternative? White British people who speak English don't want to work there. In fact, anybody who has a British passport with any kind of sense will not work anywhere near a prison. It's fucking dangerous. Sam left because Sam knows it's not worth it. Some of the people in that place are very, very violent and extremely strong. So I'm not surprised you got people in there who can't speak English or who don't speak good English. Just like I'm not surprised you've got so many 18-year-old females working there. And the reason why they've got all of these young girls working in a prison is because nobody else wants to do it. All of these white men don't want to work in prisons. I saw a podcast with a guy, he was doing an interview. It was actually one of the best ex-prison guard interviews I've ever watched. I can't believe I forgot the guy's name. But he's from Essex. He left the prison system and he spoke about why he left. He defended himself in an incident and he was investigated. He was off suspended with full pay for a 18 months. And then he came back to prison to work. But he wasn't the same after that. Because he found himself in a similar situation. And when the prisoner charged at him, rather than him doing what he did the first time, he had it in the back of his mind that if he reacts in a similar way, he's going to be out of a job. So he said he just evaded that prisoner And after that, he just handed in his notice and said, "Do you know what? I can't do this." He said it himself. He'll turn to the right, he'll turn to the left. And there's a bunch of 18-year-olds in there. The staff there are not putting hands on. They're too frightened to put hands on. So he left. And he's someone that, he looks like a handy lad. It looks like he can look after himself. But if he's got a bunch of people in there who are scared, and you're working next to people who are scared, then that leaves him in a very vulnerable position. So people like that guy, the guy from Essex, who I spoke to you about, if he's leaving, if Sam Samworth is leaving, and Sam's mate, who was in the car with him, if they're leaving, then of course they're gonna, employ people who you probably think shouldn't be working there, who I think shouldn't be working there. But you have to understand that they have to lower the bar. The bar at one point would have been much higher. But because people like Sam and the guy from Essex and Sam's mate in the car, because these people are leaving the prison service, they then have to start to take people who they would not even have replied to the application. They now have to accept those people now. And they never would have taken those people in a million years. How do they make prison more attractive to people to work in? Somebody said money, and let me tell you this right now. The money don't mean jack shit. If that was 100K a year, and you're trying to not attract the same people you're attracting. For more money, all you're going to get is more of those people who are going to apply for it. See, because some people actually have sense. And that is danger money. It's not worth it. You go there, you will see it's not worth it. A lot of people have not experienced the level of violence or menace similar to what you see in a prison. And they go in there, and you can smell it in the air. You can smell the fear in the air. Also, as well, do not be naive. You may be wearing a prison uniform, a prison officer uniform. You might have your keys. You might have your baton. You might have your walkie-talkie, whatever it is. But the prisoners run the gaff. Do not be fooled by that. The prisoners run the gaff. Which is so ironic. Because you have people working in that place. Sorry. You have people who are in prison because when they were on the streets, they were out of control. So because they're out of control, they have been taken to a prison because they are out of control. But now they have all the control. So you have people who are out of control, in control. And that is a recipe for disaster. And that is why white males don't want to work in prisons. And I mean white males who are strong, who are big and strong. They don't want to do it because they know A couple restraints, a couple complaints, you're under investigation, you'll be dragged through the mud, not worth it. See, I'm old school. I don't think prisoners should have any rights. But that's a different video. I'll have to go into depth, and I will explain why I think they shouldn't have any rights. I don't think we should be lambasting, Nigerians or Zimbabweans or whoever wants to be a prison officer. 18-year-old girls. They are only there because other people don't want to do it. So other people don't want to do it. White British males don't want to do it. If they don't want to do it, then they have to understand it needs to be done. And if it needs to be done and people who are doing it, I don't think we need to talk down about people who want to actually do it. Because I don't want to fucking do it. I think you've got to be mental to work in a place like that. Or desperate. And a lot of these people are desperate. The money they'll get from that place, and they can send home to Nigeria or Zimbabwe or wherever it is. That's good money. They can support their family. So with them, they will put up with all types of shit in that place. And sometimes, when I say all types of shit, I mean literally. Prisoners will piss into a cup, and they will shit into a cup, and they will mix it. They will mix it. So the feces is liquidy. Mix it with the urine. And then they'll throw it over a guy's face. That happens all the time in there. So you have to put up with shit literally. And then there's all the violence and the bullying and the menace. And these guys will put up with it because they have to take care of a family. They need money. They need that visa. They've got a lot to gain from working in a prison. But then if you're like myself, I'm going to forget me for a second, but if you are white and you are British, you are not going to, if you've got any kind of sense, you're not going to put yourself in that position because you don't need to. Get a job in Tesco's and you can just put your baked beans on the shelf. You ain't got to worry about the danger. The only thing you've got to worry about in Tesco's is a baked beans can dropping on your pinky toe. Do you know what I mean? It's just not worth it. The whole prison thing. But like I said, somebody's got to do it. Peace.